my scrappy friends. I have a Christmassy layout for you, and I'm going to be starting off with these papers from the Scraptastic Club. And this is just the paper add-on or just like the paper pack that goes with the Christmas kit. I'm not sure even what it's called, but I just got the papers. And so I'm thinking about using that distressed paper right there that has like a recipe on it, and then it almost looks like stenciling, like flowers stenciled. So I just cut the branding strip off, and I'm going to use some red to just ink up the edges. And I'm just using like a makeup applicator thing. I didn't have a red like washcloth because over on the side, I use that for a lot of my inks that I use regularly to like ink like black, and I had brown on there. And I didn't want to mix the colors, so I really probably should just get some blending pad tools and stuff, but I don't like to use the ink pads to just run it along unless it's the inkers, just because I feel like it ruins the pad a lot quicker. So I'm going to use some watercolors with some modeling paste. So I'm really just wanting to add some dimension to this page because it already looks distressed. So I really don't have much of a plan, and I'm making a dark green, and I wish I had made it a little bit lighter because it actually looks black because I mixed some green, and I think I did mix maybe a little bit of black or something. And that watercolor is like the gel kind, so you just need just a teeny tiny bit and then you add water. And I didn't add any water to it, so that could have been part of the problem. I mean, in the end, I like the way that it came out, so it's not like a super big deal. And I'm going to use this arrow stencil that I have, or like triangle arrow stencil. And I'm just going to randomly place a thin layer of the modeling paste on. And I'm not really being I'm keeping everything to that small corner just because I don't want to get too much modeling paste like on my hand and smudge it on the paper. But other than that, I'm really not being super careful. If it gets the whole thing, that's okay. And I'm just looking at areas where I think it'll look good. And I wasn't sure if I was going to put more on, and then I'm like, so I just hit it a little bit with the heat gun just to make sure that it dried a little bit quicker. And it dried pretty quick. There was a couple spots that it didn't. And so now I'm going to be using the stamp set from Scraptastic, and this is their Christmas stamp. And this is like a triangle diamond that's open, and I'm just randomly placing it in the spots that I think it'll look good. And I really kind of wanted it to touch a lot of the where I use the molding paste, just because that kind of it connects everything, and I did want it to be connected, even though I did a couple on the edges where it wasn't the whole thing. And here I'm just, because I used it on the modeling paste, I want to make sure that that really dried so I don't get anything on my picture. And I'm just checking and looking. And so now I'm going to look through and see what papers I want to use to go. And at this point, I really have not much of an idea of what I was wanting to do. I did know I wanted to use that green arrowy paper, which is why I used that stencil. And I thought that it went really well with the green tree. This is a picture of my kids near a tree that had cookies all on it from a Christmas party that we went to. And so at this point is when I start thinking about the fact of, oh, this is what I can do. So I thought about having some strips of paper. And I'm not sure if at this point I realize what I'm going to do with the stripes, but I know that I kind of want to keep it pretty neutral and like keep it with simple Christmassy colors. So that's why I picked out that houndstooth black and white. Um, I picked out that white, and that actually was the back of another paper, and it was like an iridescent kind of white color. And then the text with the black and white, and then I picked that red candy cane striped. And at this point, I'm just laying them, and then this is when I realized, oh, I should use fishtails on both sides. And I usually don't do this kind of layout very often with both sides. I like the banners, but I often have a hard time using doing both sides, and I want to outline the edges of these just to kind of make them stand out a little bit more. And I have this silver Pilot pen that is like a paint pen almost, and it's really, really fun. And I thought that the silver would give a nice outline but not be too harsh. So I use that, and you do have to be careful with it because it can be really goopy. And if you press down too hard, it can let the paint out because it's the kind that if you press down, the paint comes out. So I did have to be really, really careful with it. And so at this point, I'm trying to be careful not to move around my layers because that's kind of where I want to put them a little bit. And so, and I really like the way this silver looks, especially on the black, which is kind of why I chose it, that color. I thought it would be a nice neutral color with the red and the dark green that all looks black. Once it dried, it really just looked black. I should have used less paint and a little bit of water in the modeling paste. But I didn't want to make the watering paste too thin. And that's the problem with adding things to watering paste to get a different color. So, and that houndstooth paper is really, really fun. That one, like, it is very pixelated, and so it looks like it's a fabric. And so I did cut them all different sizes, and I tried to do different widths just so that they weren't all the same. So it had a little bit of a variation just to give it a little bit more interest. But yeah, that Christmas tree, oh my gosh, guys. The the cookies that were on there, I'm not sure what company made the cookies, but they were like the size of your hand, and they were all like Hawaiian type, like Christmassy themed. So like there was like really beautiful red hibiscus, like Christmas red hibiscus ones, and there was a candy cane, and I think there was I'm trying to remember what else there was. There was a lot, but they were like more tropically themed, and it was really, really fun. The kids, they seen this tree and their eyes just like got so big like saucers, and it was so much fun to see them pick out a cookie from this tree. And there was 3 trees, and they all were real. And so that was really fun. Of course, I'm over near the tree trying to smell it to get that Christmassy smell since we don't have our own tree. And I did put that some of those on pop dots just because I want to add a little bit of dimension since I do have the modeling paste and stuff. So I want it to kind of lift up off the page a little bit. I don't want it too high, but I thought that would be kind of fun. And so here I'm trying to decide which side I want the photo to be on. And I decided that I wanted it a little bit more. And I really wanted to use like some vintagey like paper. And that's just from an old book. That's a Christmas book. But it was too yellow with all the white. It really didn't, I didn't think it looked that good. And so I think at this point, I'm thinking about where I want to put my title because at this point, I'm thinking about a title. And I know, oh, yeah, I forgot that I remembered that I had these snowflakes, the wooden snowflakes. And so I'm going to put those on. And I just grabbed, what, 5, I think? Yeah, I grabbed 5. I tried to grab an odd number, and I just randomly placed them throughout. So your eye does go around the page to the different areas of where I put the modeling paste because I really do want, to be there to be that circular focus because my photo and that cluster is pretty focused in the middle. I wanted things around so that your eye didn't just sit there in the middle and get lazy. So I'm just looking and seeing like if there's anything else I have in my little teacup of Christmassy things to put on this page to make it a little bit more. And I had a really hard time because I didn't want to over embellish because it was already busy in the background and I just didn't really see anything. And so I think this is when I realized that I should just stop what I'm doing and you see, I'm just playing around and just like, and nothing's working. So I'm going to get my thickers. And I know I have those red and white striped thickers with the glitter that are like the candy cane ones. Yeah, they're called candy cane. And I'm going to get those in a minute. Oh, yeah, I was thinking about maybe sticking something underneath, but it was just too much. I mean, really, like, I tried, but I was like, I didn't want to overclutter. I do use that tree, though now that I'd seen it on, I wish I did it on the other side. And these are so cute with the glitter on them. Oh my goodness. I haven't had a chance to use them yet, so I was really excited to be able to use them on here. It's just the right amount of like red to the red that's on my page. So it really just, I think, brings that title to life. And I am using glossy accents on the bottom or underneath to put them down because they're the chipboard ones and I was afraid they weren't going to stick. So the foam ones stick pretty good, but and so I'm also going to be using other thickers because the title of my layout is the sugar cookie tree since the cookies were sugar cookies. And so, but I really wanted cookie to stand out because that was really what was on the tree. And so I'm using that dark font right there for tree is basic gray. And those are the Jovial collection, and then those are Bow Bunny, and that's a Christmas collection too. I'm not sure what year those are from. I know they're both probably older collections because I got them for like $1 a piece or something. And I am gonna outline just put a few little outlines with that silver pen on the top, just to kind of make it stand out a little bit differently than tree because I use the same font. And I did put sugar over top of on my photo because there is a lady in the background and I really didn't care to see her. I don't know her. And then, and so it kind of took away from the photo. And so I figured by putting it over top, it really does kind of conceal the fact that there's a person there that we didn't know. So I think at this point, I'm thinking about what else I want to put on the page. Oh, because I'm going to put these letter stickers, these words on there. And those are October afternoon. And I had some red and green ones. And there was just ones like together, candy canes, gather round, and Christmas. And I put hot dots underneath them because I put them over top of the snowflakes. I thought that that kind of like just added a little bit something different for me, for my page. But they kind of stood off and I didn't want them to get too smushed once they get in my album and in my page protector. So here I'm just putting down that tree, which falls with the glossy accents on it. Don't you love that? And so here I'm putting down these Studio Calico stars that I had pulled out a while ago. And that came in a pack that was white and then there's like a wood grain, but I really wanted the white because on the background of that page there's the flowers that are white and it almost looks like like it's like gessoed or something maybe or like white acrylic paint like a wash and I really wanted to kind of make that stand out by having something else that's pure white. I mean, it's really hard to see them and I'm fine with that because I just wanted it to once again add another layer. And that's the thing that I like about mixed media type scrapbook pages is that, you can just do a few little things and it might not completely stand out entirely, but that's not really what the point is. The point is to add some things that add like texture or dimension and just add a little bit something else to your page. So yeah, maybe at first you might not notice that there's stars scattered throughout, but if you get down and look, you can see them and it just adds a little bit. So at the end, I want to do a little bit of journaling about this tree and about how my kids loved the Hawaiian themed big sugar cookies. And so I didn't want to write right on the page because with that text in the background, really, it was going to be really hard. So I found an October afternoon, like a little card, and I just cut it and put it on the bottom. It doesn't really match anything, but that was the only way that I thought that would work. And so here, the last thing that I'm going to add is some black Heidi Swap color shine. And I really just like that, once again, that last little bit. And I did add some enamel dots as I was rambling. So you'll be able to see all the close-ups of this. And I really had so much fun making this because I didn't even know what it was going to be at the beginning, but it was just so much fun to play with all my products. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys are having a great new year and enjoying scrapbooking and being inspired. So I will talk to you later. Bye.